What's up, guys? Welcome back to Probing Paul. This is my Q&A series where I answer questions that you guys have left in the comments of the previous video. This is actually my second episode for June, and I kind of mentioned before that I wanted to go to twice a month with this series, so I'm doing that this month at least, and I'm going to be supplementing the questions that I'll answer first with the second part of this video, which is going to be mail time, opening stuff that you guys have sent to me.
Excellent!
As usual, we begin probing Paul by looking back at previous times that I've been probed, and it's funny because all the way back here I was in light mode and then I switched to dark mode, but the light mode, it's still, I feel like it echoes throughout time, and it has caused its brightness to shine down this pathway. The small amount of brightness back here has like lit up the other episodes in the past, but anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I checked my P.O. box today though, and there actually wasn't much in there, and part of that's probably because mail time was something that we used to do pretty regularly on the Awesome Hardware live show, and since we don't do the live show anymore, I haven't been doing mail time, so people haven't had much reason to send me stuff. I do have a small pile of stuff here though that I'll be taking a look at in just a bit, but I wanted to start off by promoting my P.O. box, the fact that I have one. It's on screen right now, and it's also in the description of all of my videos. Let's get started with the first question though for the actual Probing Paul, and again, all of these were taken from the comment section of last month's video, but I decided for this episode, I'm gonna pull up questions or comments that I think are wrong, and I'm gonna point out that they're wrong. I don't know where I thought of this. I probably got the idea from Jay or something like that. But let's get into it with the first sort of question. This is actually a comment by Carlos9998. And this was on last month's Probing Paul, which actually got a lot of views because I was talking about how videos aren't getting views very much. So of course, you know, so that video about tech videos not getting views got a lot of views. But Alpha Machina did a little reply here, and you know, very, very thoughtful reply to some degree. He's just not excited about PCs anymore. I think the entire PC experience is dying. That's where I think you're wrong, Alpha Machina. I'm gonna tell you why here. But just to point a few things out about the comment here. He's talking about like building a deck in a porch pre-COVID and how lumber prices are crazy high right now and how much just things in general cost right now. And it's interesting that you might be aware of something like that, but not aware of the fact that, well, there's a lot of shortages in the world right now, and that we're still suffering from fallout from COVID from last year and from a lot of production being disrupted in various ways. But I also note that Alpha Machina is sitting on a 3900X, a 32 gig RAM kit, and an RTX 2080 Ti, and says that they might not ever build a PC again because this one apparently is fine for them. So there's a lot of discussion in the last video and in the comments about the PC market in general right now and why it's suffering so badly. And a lot of that is just due to high prices, limited availability, scalper pricing, and people getting frustrated having to wait so long, so they decide, you know what, I'm just gonna do something else. And speaking of doing something else, right now a lot of people are doing other things because it's summer and a lot of people are vaccinated now, and at least here in the US, like mask mandates have lifted and stuff like that. So people are going out and doing stuff, and since the PC market is already pretty screwed over, they're like, well, I'm just not gonna bother with that. However, I would not take it so far as to say that PC building in general is dying or PC gaming is dying because, well, I've heard this all before. Here's an article from 2013 talking about tablets, and look at the tablet market. This red line here, it's getting higher and higher and higher. Tablet market is now more than half the size of the PC market, and all we ever heard back then was like, well, tablets are gonna overtake PCs. PCs aren't gonna be a thing anymore. So obviously, if you continue that trend, you'd come to the inevitable conclusion that the PC market is dying, PC building is dying, and as an extension, probably PC gaming is dying as well. And everyone's just gonna game on tablets in the future. And while people do game on tablets, and tablets are still a thing, the rise of the tablet market has not caused the demise of PC gaming or the PC market. There was also lots of this kind of talk back in 2017 during the first initial crypto boom when people could actually mine Bitcoin with GPUs rather than mining Ethereum and then using Ethereum to buy Bitcoin or trade with other cryptocurrencies that are out there. People said, oh my gosh, GPUs are too expensive, the prices are never going to come down, they'll just be used for cryptocurrency mining now, so PC gaming is going to go the way of the dodo and people will just be gaming on consoles, or I guess the tablets, as predicted in 2013. Here's a chart over on Reddit made by user Gregable, and this has been thrown around a lot in the past couple weeks. It's a couple weeks old now, so I'm kind of hoping he does an updated one. But this is showing GPU prices divided by their hash rate, and the trend line for that's going back to about January. But it kind of peaked back in May, and it's been trending downward since then. Now, this does not mean the GPU prices are back to normal by any stretch, but this is an indication to me that, as with lots of things in the world, there is an ebb and a flow. Markets rise and markets fall. So do empires and other parts of the body too, but not to get distracted. Now, this does not mean that prices are back to normal. We do still have more time to wait, but it does mean that things are beginning to normalize as hopefully the various factors that have led to such a crazy bubble for so long are starting to now cause it to deflate. And I believe the same thing is happening in the lumber market and other areas that were supply constrained due to things that happened logistically over the course of the past year or so, year and a half or so. But for what it's worth, I'm remaining optimistic. I do think that the trends will continue in the direction that they've been going. Hopefully, as we get towards the end of the year, we might be able to see some better stock, better inventory available, the ability to build a gaming PC for not a crazy amount of money. And yes, I know that my job and my livelihood somewhat hinge on that happening. I think there's other things I could do, even if like GPU, even if you are right, Alpha Machina. But I don't think you're right. I think you're wrong. Let's move on to the next question. This comment's from Ryan. He is also weighing in on the general situation. And again, a couple of these initial comments are responses to the overall topic, overall subject of the last Probing Paul video. So he thinks it's oversaturation, lack of availability to buy. But he says, I feel like the more knowledgeable on tech you become, the less tech videos you watch, since you already know the answers, so to speak. And while there is some truth to that, because once you do know, say, the basics of assembling a computer, you're not necessarily going to need to go back and rewatch a tutorial every time you put one together. There are still plenty of people who know everything about building computers that still go and watch even my most basic tutorials. So I'll point that out, and also point out the second thing, Ryan, which is that you're wrong. And I'm going to back that up with a quote from my boy Socrates over there. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. This quote also immortalized in a great tune by Operation Ivy. And I guess I can only really speak for myself here, but I've absolutely found that the more I learn about a subject, the more I realize how much depth and detail and nuance there is, the further and further you dig down. You can know everything there is to know about building computers, but do you know how a CPU actually works? Do you know everything about memory and how it functions? Chances are the answers to those questions are no. I mean, it's mostly no for me for that type of thing still, really, when it really comes down to it. But I'll also point out there's a thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and while it is theoretical, but you start out over here with a lot of confidence, knowing very little about something, thinking, wow, I'm really badass at this, and then you learn more and more and more, and you get down into this thing, which is the Valley of Despair. What do they call it? Yes, the Valley of Despair down here. This is where I typically live, thinking like, oh my gosh. And it can be hard because you think to yourself, there's so much more to learn. How am I going to absorb all this knowledge? And I'm just a tech YouTuber, and I spend most of my time complaining about the GPU shortage these days. So to answer your question, you didn't really ask a question, but the point is, you're wrong. And you should still watch tech videos because there's still lots more to learn. You don't have to watch all my tech videos. I guess that's one other thing I wanted to point out. I am perfectly aware that there's a level of depth and detail that I get down to, and there are absolutely channels that dig down deeper than I do. I think probably Gamers Nexus is a great example right off the top of my head, and I'm very happy that Gamers Nexus has been met with a lot of success, because I feel like that level of depth and technical knowledge is something that should be spread amongst the people. And I learn stuff watching Gamers Nexus videos just like you do, and sometimes I try to make videos that also sometimes teach people things, or other times I just make videos where I tell people they're wrong. That's what this video is. Let's move on. Watercooled Guy says, my wife asked me what I was watching. This is again from the last video. I told her I was watching Probing Paul. She gave me a disgusted look and walked past the door. Watercooled Guy, your wife is wrong. She should not respond like that. Flame65 followed up properly here, said, my wife got intrigued and things got freaky. And I don't want to dwell on this too much, but if you go to my Probing Paul playlist and you go back to the first video was not called Probing Paul. I was trying to figure out from you guys what I should call the series. So first and second video talk about the origin of that name and how it's not supposed to be something that causes your wife to be disgusted or something like that. It's supposed to indicate that there might be a few little tidbits of knowledge floating around in my noggin up here that you guys might be interested to find out. But you're not going to find that out unless you do the probing. So that's what Probing Paul is all about, and it's something that we practice here on a regular basis. Actually, much more frequently than I shoot this series. Single Serving Friend is next. That's a great Fight Club reference. Paul, you looking fit, my man. I see you. Well, I do appreciate this comment, and I do appreciate, compliments in general. You're wrong. I'm not fit. In fact, I'm not in great shape at all. But part of the reason I chose this comment, other than looking for comments that I could say, no, you're wrong to, is that I actually did exercise earlier today. It was the first time I had done like actual exercise in a while. I just did like some lifts and push-ups and random stuff like that. But as things have been slowly getting back to normal here, and as I've been feeling a little bit more on top of my schedule and posting the right number of videos that I want to post and that sort of thing, I've been looking for other things that I could be like, oh, I've been meaning to get on top of that for a while. And one of those things is getting into better shape physically. So I'm gonna try to keep at that. Gonna try to keep it up. I have a plan for this week just to sort of ease into it, because you don't wanna go and hit it too hard or anything like that. But yeah, that. I mean, I hung out with Kyle over the weekend, and like he's got crazy guns now. But yeah, I can't have Kyle showing up there with the gun show and me just being there with my flabby arms. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Here's my next question. This is again not a question. S. John with the quote: "If you're thinking about getting a 20 series card, don't. Just wait," said lots of tech YouTubers back in 2020. And this was back in 2020, like before the RTX 3080 launched and stuff. So John, just thought I'd throw a little twist in here. I am wrong. Or I was wrong, I guess. And I don't know if there's been like a formal apology made to any of the viewers out there for the GPU advice that was given back in, say, summer of 2020. A lot of people were like, you know what? We got new cards coming out, so you don't want to buy these old cards right now. The 20 series was never very well priced in general. And while I didn't have time to go back and look at an old video and find myself actually saying that directly, I'm pretty sure I gave advice similar to that at some point. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry and I was wrong to any of you out there who have been suffering as a result of that. And on behalf of any other YouTubers out there who also gave that advice, they were also wrong and they're also sorry too. And we can confirm that with each of them on an individual basis over the course of this week, I'm sure. Next up, Philip, son of Vlad, says, glad you're getting back into the swing of things. Thank you. I'm really glad for that too. PC Market is crazy. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? Speaking of getting into shape, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? Here it is. And I guess I should point out that I really love all ice cream. I'm a big, ice cream's awesome. I'll eat it just about any time of day. But chocolate malted crunch, I would say, is probably my favorite. I don't know if there's some nostalgia mixed in there, like Thrifty was the brand that you used to get it with. And I feel like there's some good, like this one, this style here, they use that cylindrical like ice cream scooper thing to put the scoops on top of the Thrifty ice cream cone. That's what I remember right there. It's got little chocolate shavings in it. It's got marshmallows and it has malted crunch, like crunchy malt balls in there as well. Not chocolate covered, but the ice cream is also chocolate flavored. So it's really just about the most delicious thing you can put in your mouth. I feel like Thrifty closed down, but maybe you can still get it at Rite Aid. I think there's some various knockoff varieties of that as well. And that's not to say there's not like a close second or anything like that. Like I said, ice cream in general is delicious as long as it's not matcha flavored. That's just an abomination. And now I'm just thinking to myself, like, where can I go and get some of that ice cream? But I shouldn't. I'm gonna exercise and get in shape. That was what I said earlier in this video, and I'm sure I'm gonna stick to that. We have one last, this isn't a question. These are just a bunch of comments, and I wanted to pull some of these up. So like Sterling, Spencer, Patrick, Colby, Todd, Shift Control Hack, all you guys who just there, and this is just a handful. There was so many of these types of comments in the last video, and I just wanted to say thank you to you guys. Anytime I feel like my YouTube metrics are sliding when I'm looking at those and being like, oh no, I'm not getting as many views now as I did a few months ago or last year or something like that, I see comments like this and I think, you know what? I think I'm gonna be okay, because you guys are awesome and you guys keep coming back, and apparently a good amount of you guys really do enjoy the content that I put out. So even if my numbers aren't what they used to be, even if I can't resuscitate them and start hitting, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 views a video or whatever like I used to from time to time, I think I'll still be okay, because I think I still got you guys who are coming in here with the positive comments, making me feel good. I just wanted to echo that back to you, say thank you, and say that I really appreciate the support. And now it is time to do something that I haven't really done in a Probing Paul video before, and that is transition to mail time. Mail time, where I open mail that is sent to me and show you the things that was inside. We're starting with this package, and this was sent to me by my merch guy, John. I asked him to send over a few things. This is gonna be a little bit of a shameless plug for my merch, but that's okay. I do that all the time. And also to actually have some of these things myself, because I shouldn't be telling you guys, hey, buy this stuff, unless I've actually looked at it and been like, yes, it's good. So look at these. These are the bamboo coasters that I now have available with my thumbscrew logo on them. And the thing that these can match with is my Imperial pint glasses, which I'm drinking some water out of today. It's actually getting really hot in the garage here. And these really nice heavy-duty bottle openers, which like you could cut someone with. They're pretty awesome. So these are available in sets, but we were waiting on stock of the glasses to come back in. And I believe end of June was the ETA for that. So I know I've said in a couple videos recently to keep an eye out for those to come back in stock. They should be in stock really soon. And thanks to all you guys who help support the channel by buying merch. Other than that, I'm gonna take another drink. Other than that, I also got one of these. This is the retro thumbscrew design. It's a little bit more colorful than the typical shirt, so I've also been selling these for a while, and I don't have one, so now I have one of those that I can wash and wear. It's good to add shirts to my available shirts that I have. Oh, I never showed these on the overhead. I totally forgot I even had an overhead camera going. Next up here, I have an actual letter, and this is, I believe, from an actual fan that was sent, so maybe it's heartfelt or maybe it's personal or something like that, so I'm gonna pop it open here. Oh, it's a long letter. Give me a second to read through this and I'll give you guys a summary. So to sum up, this letter is from a very nice fan named Aaron Y, who shared a little bit about his family life and situation and his PC that he currently plays on. He has a 2060 Super, and it's having a hard time on his 4K monitor. And it kind of boiled down to, he was asking me if I had a graphics card I could send him, which I'll be honest, I get asked pretty regularly. So first I should point out to Aaron and anyone else who's watching, because I get requests for graphics cards and other hardware so often, I don't really have a good way to do that, to say, here you go, take this or whatever. Now, if I thought that there was something special here that made me want to just give you a graphics card, I would not tell people right now, because that would only lead to a bunch more people asking me for more graphics cards. The thing I will point you towards is I do have giveaways that are up and ongoing right now. I'm giving away a full water-cooled PC. There's also an International RTX 3080 Ti that's available. There's also a CPU, a Ryzen 5950X. I'll put links to the giveaway entry pages for those in this video's description. They were put together to support the charity live stream that Kyle and I just did this past weekend on Saturday. Thanks, by the way, to everyone who joined in and participated with that. But Aaron, I do want to say thank you very much for sending that letter over. I'd recommend with your 2060 Super, maybe give some DLSS options a try. That should support DLSS 2.0, and that can help improve performance, especially on a 4K monitor. But I am always looking for ways to sort of fairly and equitably redistribute the hardware I have here that I don't need anymore. That's part of the reason I decommissioned the Spectre 2.0 build and sent two 2080 Ti's over to Travis Peacock, who builds PCs for disabled veterans through his charity Shellback Tech. But that's probably the best answer I can give you for now. Thank you once again for sending that over. All right, I have two packages here. Speaking of the charity live stream that Kyle and I just did this past weekend, these packages, I believe both of them, are sent via or through Extra Life. Look at that, Extra Life Hero member, Extra Life Team Hero Team. So I got two buttons. This is a top 10 community team because our team last year for 2020, especially after the December charity event where we raised over $50,000, we were a top team. So I get a little button for that. That's really cool. And then this is my Hero Medal, which I believe is for individual fundraising that gets over 10K, over 10,000, something like that. So look at that, that's real shiny. I now have a full, legitimate, like metal Extra Life controller thing. They should make a keyboard and mouse version of this. I'm not sure if they could do a keyboard and mouse and effectively make it have the wings on it and everything. Look, and they're still using For the Kids on here, which they're not using anymore because of a weird legal situation with University of Pennsylvania or something like that. But thank you, Extra Life. Thanks to everyone who has donated to those events. Really happy to have these medals. I'm going to find a good place to put them up here in the studio. And my last package here, you might notice, has a brand name on it. That's In Source Customs. That's our boy Joey, who does custom sleeve cables. These arrived. I meant to open them over the weekend. I did not cut all the tape on this either. So you guys are watching this video probably on Tuesday, and the next video that goes up, assuming all goes well and according to plan, which, you know, what could go wrong? But the next video that I should be posting should be the final video on the water-cooled build that I've been putting together for the past couple weeks, and these are the sleeved cables for it that Joey just assembled. We have two 8-pin, and I just need to crack the baggies on this so that they're not, the shiny plastic is not obstructing the nice clean view that you can see. There's a 24-pin, there's the double 8-pin for the GPUs, and then we have an 8-pin plus a 4-pin for the CPU. So there are the cables. Really, I love the paracord sleeving and everything. So we got white, a little bit of silver, a little black, and then a nice textured red there in the middle for the red accent. These are gonna make this build pop. Just like so much. I want to go plug them in right now and see what they look like and send people pictures of them and stuff. But I just wanted to show these off to you guys really quick before I actually get them in the build and do the final steps on that project. But yeah, I think that's a great way to end this episode of Probing Paul and Mail Time. Huge thank you to Joey for sending this over. Huge thank you again to everyone who joined us for our charity live stream on Saturday. And the giveaways for that stream are still open, as is the ability to donate to Extra Life. So just because we're not live streaming anymore doesn't mean you can't donate. The link to that I'll put in the description. And the giveaways, you don't need to donate to enter, so keep that in mind. If you're not able to donate, that's totally okay by us. The donations are going to support the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. But that PC that these are going in is up for grabs still, so don't forget to do that. And again, links for that are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Probing Paul. Also, don't forget to leave me questions for the next episode, which will probably be coming at you in a couple weeks in July. Speaking of July, it's not quite July yet, but it is summer and it's very hot in the garage, so I need to end this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button. Give me some feedback in the comments section down below. Give me questions for next time. Enter the giveaways. Go ahead and check out my store at paulshardware.net, where you can buy shirts and mugs and pint glasses and all kinds of cool stuff like this shirt right here. Thank you, as always, for watching, you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.